Oh, we're here in the majestic redwoods of Northern California, and I'm sitting here with Colt Briner and Brian Weller, who's joining me today to talk about their initiative, RAD Creative. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Good. Nice to meet you guys again. So you guys have framed the seminar, Surfing into the Future, Mastering Radical Creativity to Thrive in Turbulent Times. First, Brian, how did this come about, initiative and thought process?
Yeah, thank you, Julia. With the many years I've spent working with corporations and governments, really as a troubleshooter when there's been sticky or difficult situations, maybe with their research or the adoption of technology or new production technology and so on, I've been brought in to really help teams think kind of out of the box or beyond the box, to think creatively and radically, to then come back and be able to implement something that's going to move the ball forward. So I've worked for the last 7 years as a faculty member at the School of Business of Chaminade University in Oahu. And just as the COVID pandemic was hitting, the new dean of the business school, who'd spoken with me, said, I'd love you to put together some really powerful and unique seminar for our business community, to come in as we relax or as we deal with the pandemic, and we want also to attract businesses from the mainland. Could you think about something? And that's when I thought, this could be a very interesting challenge, particularly now. And the first person I thought of working with was my close friend and confidant, Colt Briner, who, in my estimation, is really at the top of his game and has made so many amazingly creative shifts and changes in his world as an executive and as a business person. So, Colt.
Thank you for that. Well, I certainly share Brian's thinking that creativity, radical creativity, is going to be pivotal in helping businesses move from where they currently are through turbulent times into a future of their own envisioning. This element of radical creativity has become kind of a defining element between winners and losers going into this next stage. The pace of innovation, the pace of change, and the existence of so many challenges that are extant in the environment and the economy and other things, they demand it. They demand radical creativity, and the opportunity to team up with you to bring your combination of skills, of knowledge, and then and my own. I'm thrilled to be able to bring that together with you. You've been an inspiration for me in my career for so long, and I'm like I said, excited to see this come together and present it to the business community.
Thank you.
Yeah, right on.
So Brian, why this provocative title, and what has surfing really got to do with business people?
Okay, there's a question. So we feel that surfing is a perfect metaphor for what the business world is facing right now. If you think about what surfing is, it's a great skill. Surfers basically move, they move from the security of the land, all right? They take their technology and they take their skill into the ocean. And when they're sufficiently far, they're waiting for the big wave, right? Sometimes the seventh wave, they're waiting for the big wave. Yeah, so they're facing it head on. And then when the wave comes, they're up on their board and they're able just to be just on the front edge of all of that power of the wave. And then they surf it. And that surfing is that creative act of using the power of the wave to perform at their skill level, very, very high level of skill. So Hawaii, of course, being the surfing capital of the world, and incidentally, now building a museum in Oahu on the history of surfing. And of course, we now know that surfing is soon to become, if not already, an Olympic sport. So everything was coming together.
Yeah.
And so when we think about business, using this metaphor, business is now facing, as we know, through the COVID pandemic and all the other changes that are happening around the world, business especially is facing this tsunami, this wave of change. So the question is, for business particularly, governments also, of course, and communities. How do we deal with this huge wave of change or changes? And we believe it's about going out to meet these changes and then taking the energy of these shifts or changes and then directing it, moving with it to create a future that's truly going to be extraordinary. And in a way, this is what humans have always done, you know. But it takes radical creativity and that courage, if you will, to be able to meet these changes head on and then work with those forces.
Surf them.
And, you know, I think, well, Colt has been the inspiration in many ways for this realization I've just been speaking about.
Yeah, and it's interesting, as you mentioned just briefly that the biggest wave surfing now involves the technology of jet skis, which is like a massive amalgam of technologies, but it also requires a whole different level of skill and ability. And this is so true, and it applies so directly to this idea of this big tsunami of change, as you've called it, that's coming, right? It is technological, it is economic, it is social, it's so many things, right? This is a multi-wave, really, of change that's coming. And in a very similar way, how do you find and how do you identify and then leverage the technologies that exist now to address this wave or these multi-wave thing that's happening? And then how can you apply what we've come to understand about the way the brain does work and can work, the most radical advances in being creative along with those technologies in order to succeed in surfing this wave? It's all very possible, but those understandings are critically required.
And I guess this is really what we're addressing in our seminar, Surfing into the Future, right? Mastering Radical Creativity in Turbulent Times. And we believe that this is the critical question and the critical requirement for the times we're now moving through. It's one thing to be able to look at all these changes, but it's another thing to be able to master them. And we believe that radical creativity is the answer, and it always has been, actually. So the participants that come to this seminar, we're going to share the secrets of the great masters, people like Leonardo da Vinci, Einstein, the great inventors of our day, and how it is that they can tap into that place, if you like, that place, that power within, to then meet these challenges and changes.
Yeah.
Well, I can see why you stuck around this guy for so long.
So, right? Totally.
But where would you say your inspiration to be the co-founder of the seminar came from?
My inspiration? Well,
Yes.
I mean, certainly Brian's been a massive inspiration for me. And he's also helped me see that some of the techniques and tools that I've pioneered fit so well with his own work and have an audience that could benefit clearly from it. So to take the tools and techniques that I've brought into my work, bringing creativity to make shifts and help companies, take on incumbents in major industries, help companies undertake significant innovations and pioneer new areas in their own industries, and even go beyond current industries. The relationship between these two bodies of work is very clear, and having witnessed Brian in presentation and bringing shifts to organizations, student bodies, businesses, and governments, I'm like, wow, can I jump in on that? And then having the sense of my own tools that he's given me, right? Like I see these tools and now I have the comfort in using them, and he's shown me the space to work them in, so I'm just ready to jump right in with that.
Well, from Redwoods to Oahu, hopefully we will all be chatting very, very soon. So thank you guys so much for your time today. It's been a great honor. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Julie.